Bill King from Nashville Sports Radio. You should give him a listen sometimes, 6 to 9 in the mornings, Monday through Friday. I give him a listen quite a bit. And I needed to ask you, Bill, about JIB. You know, we have some callers on our show and on other callers across the state of Arkansas that are fairly interesting, some that rile up other listeners, make them angry. Now, I haven't heard this caller, but I've heard you refer to him. I've seen you tweet about JIB. What is this guy, and what is it that he brings to your show, and does he just end up pissing off all your listeners?
Jeff in the Borough.
Okay.
Is what that stands for, and that would be Murfreesboro, Tennessee, and kind of a city suburb of Nashville, if you will. And he's just a blithering idiot. Here's my description of him.
Do you use those terms to call him that on the show sometimes?
Oh no, it gets pretty heated at times. But This guy is so bad, I keep him on. If he was just mediocre, I wouldn't let him in. But he is so bad, it's entertaining. And he somehow adopted, and I don't know when, but he's a big Kentucky fan. And after every Kentucky football win, he gets angrier because of all the naysayers. And he's literally a guy that can't be happy. So that's him in a nutshell. And he also gets personal. He takes shots at other callers. He made fun of my wife. Now think about this.
Whoa.
This guy he called my show and took a shot at my wife for decorating my senior son's football locker, which is a tradition that the moms do. He called in and took a shot at that. So that's what we're dealing with.
You're a bigger man than I am for letting him back on. But you know what great radio is, and arguments and put it out there. Assholes can be good radio sometimes. So let me ask you about this Ed Ogeron situation that's going on here at LSU. Yeah. Sticking around for the rest of the season. I think it makes perfect sense. The names that get thrown around out of the SEC about being possibly the next LSU coach are either Lane Kiffin or Bob Stoops. Now, let me ask you, the idea is, their ceiling at those schools is not the ceiling that you can reach at LSU. What's the ceiling at Mississippi? What's the ceiling at Kentucky?
If you're winning 8 games a year, you're doing a good job. If you're averaging about 8 games a year, you're surviving. Anything more is just not realistic. Now, I'm not saying you can't have a 9-win year somewhere in there, but if you average around 8.5, I think you're getting the job done, and you're regularly beating your nemesis. You've got to do that too. You've got to win the Egg Bowl more than you lose it. I think you can survive at an Ole Miss. I think they're fairly realistic there.
Yeah, I guess they're more on the, I guess, as realistic fans as there can be kind of in the SEC, where everybody believes that they should be Alabama. But I think Ole Miss kind of understands that might be a little bit of a far-fetched and a pipe dream. One fan base, though, and it's more about the West Tennessee fans that I've had to deal with for most of my life, of the feels like 98ers, as I like to call them. How has their actions from Saturday's games been kind of received around the state among other fans? Have other fans gotten behind them and said, if I had something to throw, I would have done it too? Or are they more of like, I guess, more rational people of saying you should never throw stuff, you could injure people, how ridiculous, and are more of on the ashamed side to be associated with that action?
Here's how this works. If you are not a Tennessee fan and you're in the state, you despise it because you have to hear about it. Not that they've been any good in football, but you still hear about it all the time, right? So you despise them. So you take this opportunity to say that debris, a mustard bottle, I guess, which was used for liquor after the guy finished it, then he chucked it, beer can, golf ball, that describes all Tennessee fans. Every 102,000 of them, that describes every one of them at that game the other night. That's what's going on here to the anti-ball crowd.
Well, I mean, it just gets better and better for Tennessee because now Jeremy Pruitt is threatening to empty the trash on his former athletic department, and they're saying, bring the trash. There's really not much for it to come out now. And, I mean, you've got the current coach, you've got Rick Barnes, all kind of coming out and trying to defend against Jeremy Pruitt, and it just, I mean, it kind of lays what Tennessee's been dealing with for a long time now, totally bare for everybody here, and it's an amazing situation to see.
Other than LSU, Tennessee's probably the most drama-filled, consistent school, right? I mean, and they always hire somebody, and then they eat that person, chuck them to the side, hire somebody else. They fight each other. They infight. They eat their own, probably better than anybody else.
Eat their own.
The University of Tennessee and their administration. I think the way they've got it set up now, they're in pretty good shape. I think they're pretty stable, which is rare for them, all the way from the chancellor all the way down to the AD, et cetera. But usually they're not stable. And, look, lawyer in Texas for Jimmy Pruitt sent him a letter and said, pay us the $12+ million by the 29th of the month, or we're going to steer you into oblivion. This thing will last forever. It could take down your athletic department. This is just legal, saber rattling. I don't think anything will come of it. Tennessee apparently is not going to bow to this threat, and Jeremy's just trying to get some money out of this. I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? He's just trying to get some more money out of it. I don't blame him, but I don't think he's going to get any.
Who's more likely to pay up, though, from coaches suing their former employers? Is it Tennessee or is it Washington State now saying that he's going to sue them?
I don't know if he will get his money either, because he's in a state that doesn't agree with him. And I don't know what court system he could go to where he would get relief. So I don't think it's him and 4 assistant coaches that have been relieved, been fired for cause, and I don't think either one of them is likely to get the money. Actually, that's a very good question, because I don't have faith that either one of them will see a penny.
And from what I'm picking up on the situation at LSU, like this buyout, they're going to pay him the whole thing. And I know that there's the Title IX situation that Ogeron is mentioned in, and a pretty big deal involving Darius Geis, but I don't think that they're going to have much recourse at all, especially when Scott Woodward says we're paying him the whole thing. He's still here coaching, and we're letting him go because of football reasons. So I think they're going to pay the whole thing out, and I think they'll be happy to do it.
18 installments through the end of 25. The first one, though, due this year is $5 million, and then it's less each of the other installments. Here's exactly what this means, guys. It means that LSU knows a lot about Coach O, and Coach O's got a lot of them. And this is, look, you keep your mouth shut. Here's your money. Go away nicely. And did you even see in the contract or somewhere where he's agreed to make personal appearances for LSU in the future? That's not happening. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. But it's in the documentation. This is just here's the money, everybody shut up.
Is this a situation with Ogeron that he kind of goes away quietly and you don't hear from him much again? Or like a lot of folks think he's going to be the next Lee Corso character on game day because of the voice and the personality and everything.
Yeah, but you kind of have to understand him, every word he says, for you to listen to him for 3 hours
the other
a
aspect
week.
of it. Do you see Ogeron like that?
First of all, he says he's not coaching next year, and it might be accurate. But he is a fantastic D-line coach, and he is a A-list recruiter. Players love that guy, fiercely love him. You could hire him. Lane Kiffin and him are tight. I don't know, and got to remember, one of the first hires other than his dad, Lane, made when he came to Tennessee was Coach O. He went to Destin and recruited him out of his condo down there. So, now could you put him on game day and he'd be highly entertaining? Absolutely, particularly. But him just fading away, guys, social media is not going to let him fade away because he's always got a new young blonde on his arm, right? And that's always a good picture for Twitter. So he's not going away.
No, he's not. And you talk about, possibility of Lane Kiffin, hiring him just because of their connection. And you talk about how good of a recruiter he is. And we see a big example of it this week in Ole Miss of the retiring of Eli Manning's jersey. I don't know if that happens this week, if it didn't happen to be for Arch Manning's recruitment. How much of just for the battle for Arch, playing in Louisiana, I'm not sure how big of a connection Ed O has to the Mannings or how hard he's been recruiting him. But how about hiring Ed O and his recruiting skills just for the Arch Manning lottery?
I don't think that connection is strong at all. The Manning family and LSU have never been a thing for obvious reasons, other than they live in New Orleans. And I don't think Coach O has any power there. I think right now, again, this is a moving target, but I think right now it would either be Alabama or you can pick another school. Maybe it was Texas, but I think Alabama's made a strong run here. Now, that doesn't mean December of, 2 years from now he signs with them, but I'm just saying right now I think Alabama's got some momentum after that trip a couple of weeks ago. And this is a Nick Saban personal target. Let's put it that way.
Something tells me that means he's probably going to Alabama. So you're going to put it in those terms.
Yeah, but I wouldn't bet it, guys. I'm just telling because this thing moves around, but I do think they made up a ton of ground with that visit.
All right, we'll leave it there, Bill. And good luck with JIB in the next week because it sounds like he's the one who needs the luck more than anything.
Taking out my wife. What's up with that?
No kidding, man. Wow. I mean, that's
we're back and better than ever. A new web interface to start the basketball season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all basketball and football action this season. Head to the new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE50 to receive your bonus. That's BLEAV 50 to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, and baseball postseason, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.